Hello, my friend. Greetings. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I am HR Huntsman. What I want to talk to you about today is hiring. In our team building system in the Leaders Edge Performance Engine, 6 systems that we deal with all the organizations that invite us in to help them scale and grow and build and break through barriers. The second system we work with is the team building system. That team building system has to do with interviewing and hiring and onboarding and writing great seat descriptions and accountability processes, etc. And I just went through a session with one of our Leaders Edge Performance Engine clients, and we're talking about hiring mistakes. And I wanted to bring that conversation here to LinkedIn as well. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Here's what I've noticed: the 4 biggest hiring mistakes. We're in one of the toughest labor markets in American business history. And so interviewing and hiring is critically important to landing those really good, ideal team members. So the 4 biggest mistakes that I see HR managers or hiring manager bosses make in hiring talent. Number one, people are still doing this. They're hiring for skill and not culture. That's a big mistake. I think it's the biggest mistake that we make in hiring. It is a natural inclination. I need someone to do the job that entails skills X, Y, and Z. And so I'm going to hire people that can do X, Y, and Z. Big mistake. Counterintuitive, I know. Big mistake. Don't hire for skill, hire for culture. I want you to think about this. And everywhere I go, I ask this question. Think about your last 10 terminations. How many of them have been for skill and technical issues, and how many have been for cultural violations of your core values, or they just couldn't work with the team? If you're like most of the companies I work with, about 80% of terminations have to do with culture and not technical proficiency. So why aren't we hiring for culture more than skill? Of course, they have to be able to do the job, but we have to get people that fit our culture. So biggest mistake number one is hiring for skill, not culture. You got to learn to hire for culture. Mistake number two is we're looking for unicorns and not potential. Another team I was working with one of their team leaders, and they're going through this entire conversation about who she's looking for. And she had a hard time finding a person. And she says in front of the entire executive group, I just want to find a unicorn. Everybody laughed, and I shot back this. Rather than finding unicorns, how about building unicorns? A mistake is looking for the absolute perfect person rather than looking just for really good potential. Now, here's the caveat. If you're looking for a diamond in the rough, you better have good systems to polish that diamond, how to turn clay into a work of art. So you need to have good leadership or team building systems in place if you're going to hire potential. There's not a lot of unicorns out there. It's a big mistake to look for unicorns rather than potential. Number 3, hiring out of desperation. Just this very morning, I got off the phone call with another client of ours who was in desperation. The end of last year, needed a manager in this very important seat, and out of desperation, hired this person, just firing from the hip. 2 months into it, big mistake. The team is in an uproar around this person. Can't stand them. They're a terrible culture fit. Not only did she hire for skill, not culture, that it fit culturally, she hired out of desperation. She didn't do her due diligence. So far, the 3 biggest hiring mistakes: hiring for skill, not culture; looking for unicorns, not potential; and hiring out of desperation. Don't do it. Do your due diligence. The 4th biggest hiring mistake: poor filtering questions in the interviews. I see this all the time, just not well thought out interview questions. Listen, one of the first things you need to do is identify your ideal team player, the person you're looking for. And don't slack on this. Don't just say, I'm looking for a dependable, high performing team player that's reliable. I mean, it's too bland. It's too general. Identify specifically what you're looking for, the trait, and how it fits that seat. Then create questions to filter for those very traits. So identify the person you're looking for or you're going to build, because we look for potential, not unicorns. Then you're going to use questions to filter for those things. Don't ask, I mean, this is pretty obvious, but are you a good team player? Do you work well with teams? Of course they do. They're going to say that to get the job. Find better questions about their past history and how they mesh with teams and how they worked with teams and some of the problems they had with teams, and describe the best team you've ever been on, etc. All right, let's review those again. The 4 biggest mistakes in hiring: hiring for skill, not culture. So hire for culture. Looking for unicorns, not potential. Don't hire out of desperation. And get your questions better. Really work through really good questions to filter for people that fit your team. So I hope that's been helpful to you. The 4 biggest hiring mistakes. I hope you're hiring well. Listen, if you need help with your team building system, it's the second system in our Leaders Edge Performance Engine. I'd love to talk to you about that system and the entire performance engine. Please reach out to me. Before that, have a fantastic day. I'll see you again soon.